Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Roman Reigns made a monumental return to Raw this week. He destroyed Seth Rollins to seek retribution for what the latter did at the Royal Rumble. However, the OTC did not spare CM Punk either, as he unleashed a brutal attack on him. This could be more than just a statement, it could be a prelude to a major twist that is seemingly on the horizon. The tribal chief might cut ties with his OG bloodline member Paul Heyman after the brutal attack on CM Punk. What really got people talking was the wholesome moment between Punk and Heyman. While Reigns was attacking Rollins, the wise man was seen consoling the best in the world. That was something that the OTC may not have liked. Roman Reigns might be questioning where Paul Heyman's loyalty lies. During his next appearance, he might call out the 59-year-old for comforting CM Punk. The former undisputed champion could very well remind Heyman that the latter is his wise man and has no business showing sympathy to someone else. Reigns might even force Paul to choose between him and Punk. The OTC might give the veterans some time to figure out whom he wants to side with. Besides, there are already reports suggesting a triple threat match between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41. Well, if that happens, it could make things even worse. The tension between Reigns and Punk would hit another level with Heyman in the mix. Moreover, with the storied history between CM Punk and Paul Heyman, such an angle could be an interesting twist on the road to WrestleMania. Paul Heyman to walk away from Roman Reigns and CM Punk? If Roman Reigns forces Paul Heyman to choose between him and CM Punk, it could create a dilemma for the wise man. He has a history with both superstars, so choosing one over the other will not be easy. Stuck between loyalty and friendship, Heyman might just shock everyone with his decision. In a surprising twist, the WWE Hall of Famer might just walk away instead of siding with either of the superstars. That way, he would avoid any bad blood with either of them and keep his hands clean. Plus, it would totally catch fans off guard, especially since everyone is expecting him to betray one of them. The 59-year-old could decide to take a little break from WWE before making his return in a new story. There have been several speculations that Heyman might take Braun Breaker under his wing. If that is the case, he needs to be kept separate from Roman Reigns and CM Punk. While it is an intriguing prospect, it is just speculation at the moment. It will be interesting to see what Triple H has in mind for this story. WWE SmackDown was supposed to be another dominant night for the Bloodline, but what unfolded was nothing short of a civil war within the family. Roman Reigns, the self-proclaimed head of the table, now faces a decision that could change the course of his dynasty forever. A shocking betrayal by an OG Bloodline member has forced Reigns to reconsider his trust in his closest allies. After years of loyalty, championship victories, and absolute dominance, one move might have severed a brotherhood built on generational greatness. The shocking incident. The tension started to build earlier in the night when Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and the ever-loyal Paul Heyman arrived at the arena. The absence of Jimmy Uso, who had been exiled after turning on Reigns at SummerSlam, was noticeable, but another OG Bloodline member was still in the mix, Tonga Kid, a legendary part of the Samoan wrestling dynasty and one of the earliest family members to support Reigns' reign. In recent weeks, Reigns had relied on the wisdom of the old guard to navigate the turbulent waters of the Bloodline's new era. With Jimmy and Jey Uso gone, and Solo Sikoa stepping into a more prominent role, Tonga Kid had been seen in the background, advising, strategizing, and reinforcing the power of the family. But as the main event of SmackDown approached, a match where Solo and Jacob Fatu were scheduled to take on LA Knight and Cody Rhodes, a backstage altercation changed everything. Roman Reigns was in his private locker room, reviewing last-minute strategies with Heyman and Solo, when a commotion erupted outside. The cameras caught security rushing toward a chaotic scene, where a battered Jacob Fatu lay on the floor. Standing over him? Tonga Kid, looking torn between guilt and defiance. The aftermath, Reigns confronts Tonga Kid. Reigns stormed out of his locker room, his face a mask of fury. Heyman trailed behind, trying to de-escalate the situation. Solo Sikoa was already helping Jacob Fatu to his feet, but his eyes burned with anger toward the man who had just betrayed the family's trust. "What the hell did you do?" Reigns demanded, stepping within inches of Tonga Kid. The OG member of the bloodline clenched his jaw, his voice steady but emotional. "I did what needed to be done, Yus. He wasn't ready. He's reckless. He's going to cost us everything." Jacob Fatu, struggling to stand, glared at Tonga Kid. "You jumped me. You blindsided me like a coward." The tension in the air was suffocating. This wasn't just about an attack, it was about a deeper fracture within the bloodline. Tonga Kid had been one of the few elder statesmen who still had a direct link to the family's past. He had been part of the legacy before Roman, before the Usos, before Solo. His word had weight. But by attacking another member of the family, he had broken one of Reigns' cardinal rules: bloodline before everything. Reigns exhaled sharply, his hands on his hips, staring down the man he had trusted for years. "You think you can make these decisions without me?" he asked, his voice calm but dangerous. "I think you've lost control, Roman," Tonga Kid replied. "The bloodline used to be about family, about making each other stronger. But now? You're just keeping people around because they're useful to you. I see what's happening. Jacob's not here because he's earned it, he's here because he's your insurance policy against Solo turning on you next." Solo stiffened at the remark, his fingers twitching at his side. Heyman looked like he was about to intervene, but Reigns held up a hand, silencing him. "You crossed the line," Reigns said finally, his voice like steel. "Jacob is bloodline. He's part of the future. And you just showed me you don't belong in this anymore." Tonga Kid's face hardened. "You're really going to do this?" Roman nodded, stepping back. "You're done. You're out." The air in the hallway became ice cold as Reigns delivered his judgment. Solo took a step closer to Tonga Kid, his massive frame radiating aggression. "You heard him," Solo said simply. "Get out." Jacob Fatu, still hurting but refusing to back down, wiped blood from his mouth and locked eyes with Tonga Kid. "You're lucky I don't drop you where you stand," he growled. Tonga Kid stared at them all, then shook his head, stepping back. "You're making a mistake, Roman. You've let this go too far." Reigns tilted his head, a ghost of a smirk appearing. "No, Yus. You did." And with that, Tonga Kid turned and walked away, his place in the bloodline officially erased. What's next for the bloodline? With Tonga Kid's exile, the balance of power within the bloodline has shifted once again. Reigns has now made it clear that even the elders of the family are not safe from his wrath. The message was loud and clear: loyalty is everything, and disobedience will not be tolerated. But questions remain. Will Jacob Fatu be able to shake off this attack and step up as one of the bloodline's top enforcers? Can Solo Sikoa fully trust Reigns after watching how easily he discarded a longtime family member? And is Tonga Kid truly done with the bloodline, or is this just the beginning of an even bigger war within the Samoan dynasty? Roman Reigns may believe he's cementing his control, but in his quest to remain the tribal chief, he may have created more enemies within his own bloodline than he realizes. SmackDown ended with Reigns standing tall, Solo and Jacob by his side, and Heyman looking more nervous than ever. The bloodline may have survived another night, but for how long? Because once family becomes enemies, there's no turning back.